Trust me, I know how to use this.
Not engineering.
No.
Advice.
Medical advice you must know for international travel.
So we have a lot of advice. We try to utilize most of it. Right now I'm suffering from Giardia because we didn't follow our own advice. Go and pick the meds up today, actually.
How long has it been since you got it?
About 6 weeks.
Right. And what happened when Viv first got it?
Viv treated herself. Follow our medical advice, but more than that, follow your doctor's advice. We suggest you start there.
Yes, because our first point is prescription medication. We do travel with prescription medication that we've gotten from our doctors. We sat down and we told them what we do for a living, and they gave us these. So of course, check where you're going first. If you're traveling to countries like South America or Africa, there are specific shots that you need or vaccinations, and you'll put those in a little yellow book. Now you must travel with this yellow book with your passport as well. They become just as important as each other because you won't be allowed in, or most of the time back into your home country, if you can't prove that you have these vaccinations.
So most of what we're talking about are antibiotics that you can self-administer while you're there. The first one coming up is an antibiotic that basically has to do with traveler's diarrhea. Now you can recover from traveler's diarrhea. That's not a problem. You don't need antibiotics, but it's going to take a few weeks. And if you only have a few weeks vacation, it's going to be a pretty crappy vacation. Like I did that.
Yeah. If you get Giardia like Eric has, there are antibiotics specifically for Giardia. So this one's for chest infections or sinus infections.
In the jungles, when I'm doing machete work or what have you, I'm getting little lacerations all the time. Not a problem. Next day, big problem. So you just spread antibiotic ointment on it, you're good to go. This is good for scrapes.
We also do a lot of work in high altitude environments, so we carry DIAMOX. This is a blood thinner which allows you to operate better at lower oxygen.
A good illustration is on Yuzu Peak when everybody went up with DIAMOX but me.
I just didn't have it in me. I'm not getting enough oxygen. I went on DIAMOX today to try and get a little more oxygen saturated in my blood.
I know this seems like a trend with me, but
Eric giving advice and not taking it. I also carry a form of Valium. It's called, I can never pronounce it, for getting over jet lag. When we travel places, we often have to hit the ground running, and we don't have time to adjust to the jet lag.
Well, we carry an actual medical kit itself. We have a lot of things basically to stop bleeding. There's not a lot you're going to do out there to help yourself or your partner except stop bleeding.
Your super glue is a really good one for gashes, closes up.
Yeah.
We did cover this on another video if you want to check out how to suture and how to put in an IV line for those of you needing more austere medical tips. Point 2, get travel insurance.
Which is also a health insurance. You're going to get your traveler's insurance and it might already have some kind of medical evacuation or treatment with it, or you can add it on as an addendum. You can also get it with devices like SPOTS. Devices come with the ability to register for medical and evacuation.
With travel insurance, pay attention to the opt-in options. Many activities like skiing or motorcycle riding are not included automatically. So if you are doing something like that, make sure that your travel insurance covers it and you actually opt into that cover. Last point on your travel insurance, this will cover medical attention in foreign countries. Now it can be a little spooky when you arrive in a particularly foreign place, like when we're in Beijing and you don't speak the language and the medicine is actually different there. Get your recommendations for hospitals and doctors from home or a trusted family or local. Point number 3 is have an evacuation plan. We had a great one in Nepal where our evacuation plan included horse and donkey because we were so high up that helicopters weren't being able to rescue us.
We're always planning our evacuation plan, whether it's on the airplane, in the streets, up in the mountains, across the river, anywhere that we're at, we are always talking about if something happens. And then we go through the actual likelihood of what might happen and what we can do. For instance, how is Viv going to evacuate my body if I've been bit by a snake and I'm immobilized?
She's not. She's going to leave him, run to get help, and call other people in to get him. Sometimes your evacuation plan, if you do remote stuff like we do, your team is your evacuation plan. For example, those of you that do backcountry skiing, you have to carry all of your bits and pieces because you are each other's evacuation plan. Now, this is where it gets very important to pay attention. Everyone must have an exact replica of the kits. There's no point like me whinging about weight and giving all of the shovels and equipment to Eric, because I have to be able to rescue him and he has to be able to rescue me. We are each other's rescue plan, and anyone else in the crew, they must be all on the same page with equipment and know-how.
Plan for everything and talk about it.
Number 4 is food hygiene. Avoid drinking the local water.
But you know, there are things you can do, like you can swim in the Ganges or soak in it, but you still have to pay attention to certain things, like keep your head above the water. Don't let it go in your nostrils or your ears because you can get infections. But then when you do get out, you do have to look for rash.
On that note, there are some little tools that we carry, like Life Straw, which allows you to drink from natural creeks. And, well, bottled water is a big one. I would also suggest avoid eating street food, although Mr. Giardia over here might have different ideas.
It's super tough to do that. You want to embrace the experience of being there and have a good time. Most of the time you're going to be okay. Just know you're running a risk.
Tip number 5 is communication. Leave a plan with your family or friends and let them know what you're doing. Carrying some sort of GPS satellite tracking device.
But the big thing is, put it on your pack somewhere where you can access it. If something happens, we fall, break your arm, your leg, you're in some rocks, you might not even be able to reach this thing for a very long time.
So once you've set up a communication plan with exterior people that are not on your trip, it's very important to have one within your group.
Communicate with each other about your health before you're going on your trip, while you're on your trip, and after your trip, because for me, that's usually when the shit goes down.
So we often have a point where people have to step in and take over and tell you what's best for you.
And listen to them. Don't be stubborn. If you break your elbow in Ireland and somebody tells you to get medical attention, you should do that, because it will get worse. And it did.
Literally everything we've said in this video you have not done. So thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe. We've got tons of other cool tips, advice videos, how-tos, and of course our vlog, which chronicles all of this ridiculousness.
All the B-roll that you've seen over the top of what we're talking about, that's like a whole episode.
Yes, please subscribe and please don't die out there.
Subscribe before you die.
And see a doctor. We are not doctors.